everybody. Welcome back to another episode of First and Last. My name is Josh, and with me this week we've got Joe.
Hey, man.
And also Jimmy.
Hey, pasta dogs.
Hello.
Pasta paws.
Pasta paws.
Like those are our dog friends.
Pasta Patrol.
Okay,
All you furry listeners out there.
Yeah.
Including animals and actual human furries.
Yeah.
All are welcome. All are welcome in First and Last World. But how's everybody doing this week?
You know, chill.
Yeah.
Saying we just got that it's not quite spring. It's not quite summer, like weather out, like a little chilly, but it's like hinting at being nice out. So
I don't know if this is still true, but it was supposed to, like I saw for the forecast for this weekend that it was supposed to snow, and then the next day it was supposed to be in the 70s. And I was just like, God.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That does sound right.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Really quick before we start, I read some news today, and I feel like maybe Joe has something to say about this, and I'm sure, Jimmy, you also watched this other show that this pertains to.
Show news?
Show news. But apparently Hulu has greenlit How I Met Your Father, the spin-off series to How I Met Your Mother, if for some reason you didn't know where I was going with that. It's going to star Hilary Duff, I guess.
Ooh.
The Duffs
thanks.
out on Hilary Duff?
It's going to star Hilary Duff? That's who you're leading with?
Well, yeah, because she's got to meet the father, right? Isn't that? I assume that's what happens.
So she's the daughter?
I mean,
No, I assume she's telling her kids how she met their father.
Yeah, I don't know how this like interacts with How I Met Your Mother at all, but
It might be completely separate, I would assume.
Yeah. I hope so. But even still, I'm not hating on Hilary Duff. I just don't. It doesn't seem like a fit. I was hoping you were gonna say like some version of Neil Patrick Harris, like someone parallel to that. So Hilary Duff really hit me the wrong way. I don't even know who that person would be that I'm. Probably just NPH himself.
Just he's gonna. I mean, I would if there was like How I Met Your Father, but it was NPH. I'd be like, okay, go Neil Patrick Harris.
Okay, go.
Bring it to me.
As himself talking to his children.
I would just listen. Does he podcast?
It's a reality
show.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
I would like to listen to Neil Patrick Harris just talk to me for a while.
After a year of pandemic, if people didn't podcast before, they certainly do now.
Yeah, I guess that's probably
They haven't left their houses. Maybe
people are just podcasting their day like as they're at work. It's just silent, but it's just like just recording everything. It's just day and you just hear their business calls, but only the one side.
Yeah. Just do an ad read every now and then.
Jimmy John's. Ah. The ad reads are just what they're ordering for lunch. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, Joe, I thought maybe you would have like strong feelings about this just because of I feel like you have strong feelings, sort of.
Yeah, I have feelings about How I Met Your Mother, and I also have feelings about remakes / reboots / whatever that means. But like I know that this is like a show, How I Met Your Father, that they've been trying to like make happen for a long time.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's more of what's the guy's name who like ran the show? It's like Carter Bays and something else. It seems like those guys just want another show. Because like How I Met Your Mother isn't that. It's not that interesting of a concept.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like a narrative structure of like, hey, it's a voiceover because I'm telling this story from the future. But otherwise, what like makes that show the show is like Neil Patrick Harris and Marshall and Lily and I'm saying Ted Mosby
Jason
last
Segel.
because I feel like he's not even why people like that show.
True.
I've never met a person that says I love Ted Mosby
Yeah,
the
right.
most. In How I Met Your Mother.
Everybody who loves Him Yim is like, Ted Mosby is a little bit dramatic, but I'm along for the ride. So yeah, I get that, it has name brand value, but is it a show I'm going to watch because Hilary Duff is in it? Ah.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
But then again, 20 years ago or 15 years ago, I think that's about when the show started. If you're like, yo, this new sitcom with Jason Segel and Neil Patrick Harris, watch it, I'd be like, no. Doogie Howser, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Dr. Horrible.
That's fair. Man, that just made me think that we need to watch Series of Unfortunate Events. Have you seen that at all, Joe?
Like Lemony Snicket's, isn't there's like a show and a movie?
Oh, yeah.
So the Netflix show, a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Not the Jim Carrey.
I'm not familiar with any iteration of that, actually.
It's, oh man, Neil Patrick Harris is incredible in it. I never read the books or anything because obviously that was like way after my time as a child, before a time where I might be reading to children for any reason. But yeah, we should probably do that on this pod because I think it's over. It was a Netflix. Anyway, I did pick a show if you guys are interested in that.
Well, before we tell people what show you picked, Jimmy, maybe we should tell them
Stick
what
to the
this
script
podcast is. We've been doing this for a while. Come on now. Joe, what is first and last?
It's a TV pod. We watch the first and last episode and nothing in between. So, if we were doing How I Met Your Mother, it's that first date with Robin and then skipping straight to the mom dying. Spoilers.
Skipping straight to getting back together with Robin.
Yeah. From Robin to Robin. From Justin to Kelly.
So okay. Now that we're caught up, Jimmy, you picked a show this week. What did you pick?
Yeah, I did. So little bit of setup is that when this airs, tomorrow is the start of it's the first day of the 2021 NFL draft. I don't know if you knew that or not, but it is.
So we're wait, tomorrow as in the day after this actually airs?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So based on that knowledge, tuck that away for a minute, and going back to, the entirety of this pod, we started with Frasier, then we did Cheers, and then we did, at the beginning of season 3, we did Saint Elsewhere, because there's this whole arc, right, of the Tommy Westfall, something like that.
Sounds
universe?
Close to being accurate, if not
something
accurate.
like that. So this show also happens to be in the universe, because I thought it's been a while since we've talked about how we relate to the universe. So
love a universe.
in Saint Elsewhere, there's a psych ward or whatever, and a character from the Bob Newhart show shows up in this psych ward, which I feel like this doesn't happen anymore in TV shows. I feel like in this way where people just bounce around between their characters in their shows on the same network or something.
Not as much as it should,
Yeah,
right?
I'd take
honestly.
more of it.
100%. That's really why I love the Flareovers. I think the crossovers. So anyway, so this guy who's Bob Newhart. Have you guys seen that show?
The Bob Newhart Show?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure my grandma had it on at times when I was walking by or something.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Never.
So he's a
never heard of it.
psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And so he's got some reoccurring like crazies, right? So this guy ends up in the psych ward in St. Elsewhere. He's also in the show Newhart, which also a thing we've talked about often on this pod is these old shows where the person's name is his character's name.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what Bob Newhart's name is in the Bob Newhart show?
Is it Bob Taylor?
It's Bob Hartley. Ooh, close.
Oh. Well, because isn't it like Andy Griffith's show? Because aren't they like Andy
But his
Taylor?
name's Andy. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So that's why I guess Taylor.
So then fast forward a few years after the Newhart show, he's got a show called Newhart, just Newhart, and it's a comedy again, but his name is Dick, and he just is like he owns an inn in like Vermont. But so that same guy who ends up in the psych ward is in Bob's new character Dick. He's in like a psychiatry like circle or whatever, and this same character's in it. So like, not only are we in the St. Elsewhere universe where this kid like sees in the globe like all the whole show. Do I have to explain the St. Elsewhere universe? And put a link to it. Okay, great.
No. Listeners, go to rabbit hole of Wikipedia to figure out exactly what that is.
Yeah, there's many YouTubes and Reddits, I'm sure.
It's just a TV show that encompasses all TV shows within it.
So between the Bob Newhart show and the Newhart show, the same characters are like overlap, but Bob Newhart himself plays different characters. And then at the
that makes total sense.
Right. And then at the end of the Newhart show, he wakes up from a dream as Bob Hartley. So
Okay.
he dreamed. It's just nuts. So anyway, some characters from the Newhart show, some goofball brothers, they squat in Coach Hayden's cabin in I believe Minnesota, which is Craig T. Nelson.
Are you talking about the TV show Coach now?
We're gonna watch Coach.
Ah, okay.
He's a coach of a football team, also including the NFL draft.
Oh man, for a second. So I'll be honest. While you're regaling us with this story, I looked up Bob Newhart show on Wikipedia, and I was looking down, and I was like, we watching Murphy Brown, because apparently the character Bob Hartley was also in Murphy Brown at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure that makes sense. So Murphy Brown's also tied to the universe.
Yep, exactly. But Coach, okay, what do we got? When did this run? How long did it go?
9 seasons. I think it started in 96. I want to say...
No. It says original release is 1989 to 1997 for Coach.
Oh, okay. Oh, weird. I don't know what I was looking at that said. Oh, this is the beginning of because I'm pulled up on the last season because I wanted to make sure that
the beginning of the last
had
season.
it.
Yeah, the beginning of last season was in 96. So
That's where that number was stuck in my head. So, and it's not even called Pilot, but sorry, we'll get there.
good pick already then.
Right? I'm really surprised by that, actually. I would have bet good money that it was called Pilot. I want to say this was on like UPN 9 or something, but...
It was on ABC, according to this.
Okay.
It was on what I'm pretty sure, actually, maybe it wasn't on the same channel, but I can tell you this for a fact. I have seen multiple episodes of the show. I essentially understand because he is a football coach, football stuff, blowing whistles, making plays, and that kind of stuff. But what would happen is Coach was on on weeknights, probably like reruns, when they just threw on TV between that like 6 to 7, 5 to 7 timeline every single night. And Coach was on, and Home Improvement was on like right after that. And it might have been on different channels, but it was like, watch Coach there, then Home Improvement. And that was basically when my
dads watch TV.
Yeah, and this is what time that we like ate dinner when I was growing up. So when we would eat dinner in front of the TV, like true Americans, Coach would be on sometimes.
Nice.
And I'll be honest, as a child, I was pretty excited when Coach was over and Home Improvement was on.
More of a Home Improvement head.
I mean, yeah. Are you more excited for a Whistle Joe or huh?
I don't know. I don't know Coach that well. I'm aware of the show that it's a football show, and I assume he's a football coach, but that's about it.
Correct.
I don't think I've ever really seen it.
It's a Minnesota-based show, which is, I think, why it was probably on as much as it was in my household.
Yeah, that would also make sense for my household as well.
Yeah, like a Minnesota college football team.
Did he coach a real college?
No, I don't think so.
Craig T. Nelson? No, no,
like
it's a
show,
fake.
It's
like it's Minnesota State, I think, which not really a thing.
No,
the Screaming Eagles are.
Screaming Eagles
is what their mascot was, and I do
they
not
got
believe
me already.
That's real.
I'm in.
Yeah, the school was called the Minnesota State University, and then there were the Screaming Eagles football team. So, and I don't think that's real or was real. Could have been real then. I don't know. I was like 5,
Yeah.
Right in the middle of this.
And all I remember is Craig T. Nelson, and then Jerry Van Dyke, who I think is like Dick Van Dyke's like little brother or something. There's some relation. And then the super tall, dumb blonde guy who's got kind of crazy hair. He looks like a Hulk Hogan type, but
is that Bill Fagerbacke or something like that? I don't know how to
Maybe.
say his name. His name is Bill
yeah, it totally is him.
Fagerbacke. Yeah, that's him. He's like one of those big lovable doofuses. That's kind of what he plays on the show.
Apparently he voices Patrick in SpongeBob.
Oh man.
Which makes sense. It's about the same character as far as IQ.
Yeah, Joe, if you're confused on who this guy is in Coach, just think of Patrick from SpongeBob.
But as Hulk Hogan.
yeah, kind of.
Solid.
But less
for me.
but less hot dog like skin.
Okay.
Maybe. Who's to say? Like, I know that Coach Hayden has like a family and stuff. I'm sure. Can't picture them. Don't remember. Like, I'm sure that it's a very secondary thing. I feel like whatever family drama is happening in my mind.
Yeah, I can't recall. I mean, I've only seen a handful of episodes, and I've definitely never seen the first or the last of the show. But I cannot recall any scene from my tiny child memory of them being like in a house talking to family. It's only like them in like his coach's office in like a locker room. That's all I can remember about this show. Or like the hallway of a school.
Yeah. I'm sure he's married. I'm sure he has children.
Yeah, that's probably true. So, what's happened in this first episode? What do we think? Any thoughts? Predicts?
Joe, you want to go blind at it?
I guess. I mean,
I do like a blind run.
I assume he's new, so he's the new coach at Minnesota State University, the Screaming Eagles, and
Caw.
and I think it's maybe they like dump on Minnesota State University, and it's just kind of like it's like barely a functioning college, and like Coach Nelson, I assume he's just gonna play a version of himself. He's like down on his luck. He is maybe a like former like insurance agent or something, but he used to play some football in college, but then his like NFL dreams got dashed or something, and he just got fired, and now he's like just like on like a classified ad. He just like picked up this coaching gig because they were desperate. And he's just, in the beginning, he's pretty cynical about it. But then by the end, he's just like, you know what? You grow where you're planted, and you figure it out. Make do what you can. I'm coach.
Love it. And then the opening credits roll.
Mm-hmm. I think the whole episode, like his players keep trying to call him coach, and he's like, I'm not your coach. You call me like Dave or whatever. And then by the end, he's like, no, just call me coach.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the list episodes, and I'm wondering how you want to handle this, and we might as well just hash it out online here right now.
Work it out.
It looks like
Cage
according to the seasons, on Wikipedia at least, episode 1 was called Kelly and the Professor. But there's a note.
Uh-oh.
It says this was the second episode produced, but aired first on ABC as a preview episode. But then episode 2 of season 1 is literally called Pilot.
Oh.
And then episode 3 is called Kelly Meet Christine. How do you want to tackle this one? Also, who's Kelly?
Offsides.
Who's to say?
So do we? Kelly
like
and the
we have to
Professor
watch-
was
Yeah.
the one aired first, I guess. So
Yeah.
I was going to vote Pilot.
Me too.
I kind of think maybe we should watch Pilot too, to be honest.
I feel like that's the intended, pilot, obviously.
Yeah, it does say that it was aired first as a preview episode. So
Weird.
which is weird because that's literally that's what a pilot is, right?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, but like sometimes, I feel like we've had shows like this before
Yeah.
where they aired a random like mid-season episode early, but then we just went back to watch like the actual pilot.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, why don't we do that? Why don't we just decide right now we're going to watch the pilot because that seems to just obviously make sense.
Cool. Which on Prime, well, and I think it's through IMDb TV, whatever that is now.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause everything has a thing. It's episode 2, and it has a title that just is Coach.
Okay. So, yeah, it's just named whatever it's called. Okay, cool. So let's do that. Let's watch episode 2 called Coach, which is actually the pilot of this show and not the quote-unquote first episode preview that was aired on ABC. So we're throwing out the rules. No rules tonight, boys. All right.
Oh, man.
So why don't we get to it, and we'll see ya after that. And we're back. We're back from the second, technically, episode of Coach, which was called Coach, which is also technically the pilot. We broke all the rules. Jimmy, you got to write up.
Episode. It was the first episode produced.
Yeah, no.
First episode
Everything.
filmed in front of a live audience is what I.
We're all
assume that
good.
means. Okay, the pilot. Write up is as follows. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Hayden's fatherly instincts are awakened when Kelly comes back to Minnesota for college, but his relationship with Christine might be in for a change. And those are the two sentences that we have. But so Hayden Fox or Fox Hayden?
Hayden Fox.
Fox Mulder Hayden.
Hayden Fox Mulder.
He's a coach, a football coach at Minnesota State. I almost said Mankato State because that's basically what this feels like.
It
but they
feels
just
like
called it
Mankato. Yeah.
Minnesota State. Anyway, NCAA college. He is like he's got like an estranged daughter and ex-wife, and he hasn't seen her in a long time. and she writes to him saying she wants to know if it's okay if that she goes to college there. And then her mom calls, and he immediately is just like, oh yeah, I'm excited, even though he's pretty nervous about trying to be a dad after all this time. And then in the meantime, he's got a lady friend named Christine, who is a sportscaster from Minneapolis, which is a ways away. And so they don't see each other very often, and she's in town, and it kind of puts a little bit of strain on his plans. But yeah.
Yeah, well, because his daughter was supposed to come, and they were just like hang out that night potentially, and then Christine calls, and his daughter Kelly's like, "Oh, well, if you got plans, you can go." And they're both super awkward and weird, which I feel like probably pretty true to form if you're visiting your dad for the first time in a really long time, and you're like an adult as well. So, but then he ends up hanging out with Christine, and he gets weird with this stranger boy who looks like he should be a football player, which is kind of a funny scene. And then when they're back at his place, him and Christine, she like leaves and forces him to like, you need to call your daughter and figure your stuff out because you're a hot dad or something. I think along those lines.
She's turned on by his fatherly intuitions,
fatherly wiles. And then there's two other dudes that like work with him. Then there's Luther, who's just like, is he just like the assistant coach or something?
Yeah.
And seems like probably he's like his best friend too.
Yeah, it seems more like they're friends, and he happens to be a coach.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's Dauber, I think is what they were calling him.
Yeah.
And that's the voice of Patrick from SpongeBob, just so everyone knows who we're talking about. And he's the special. I looked him up because they joked about him not graduating, like, oh, maybe he'll graduate this year or something like that. And I was like, he looks way too old to be a student. And I guess it's just like a running joke. He like enrolled at school for a couple years and then just never like finished. And he's like the special teams coach at the school. So, but I guess they rib him all the time for like not graduating college.
Just a super,
like you do
senior.
for people that don't graduate from college. You just make fun of them until they kill themselves.
Die. Until you cannot make fun of them anymore.
Yeah. One funny thing that I noticed during this episode though was that Coach lives in like a log cabin essentially.
Yeah. I noted that too. Like, where is this that he's? Just
I remembered that, but I assumed that was like an actual like cabin during the show that I was remembering, and not his actual house.
Yeah, it's all like wood and stuff.
When they cut to it for the first time, I thought he was like preparing like his cabin so his like daughter could like live in the cabin.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, that he was prepping a place for her to stay, but this was his actual home.
Yeah. What I
really
think...
making Minnesota making it look like we're just all lumberjacks.
Yes.
Is this just what people think Minnesota is?
That's where we all live.
Paul Bunyan. We have oxen.
We all have cows. It's all farmland up here. It's definitely that's definitely like, oh, it's Minnesota. Everyone lives in like log cabins. Like that's obviously it's Minnesota.
It's true, but they're really
Yeah, even a highly paid football coach lives in just a cabin.
Just a one-bedroom cabin with a huge stone fireplace.
That's where he cooks his meals.
Yeah, this show definitely seems like it's now instead of being, I didn't know how much was like going to actually be football stuff. Obviously, I didn't think it was going to be a whole ton, but I kind of thought it was going to be a little bit more than what we got.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was. That's true. I thought the same because I did not remember. And seeing Christine, I was like, okay, she looks familiar. To the point where I thought like maybe I saw her in something else. She kind of looks like she could be what's her name in Die Hard?
Holly Gennaro?
Yes, she looks like a Holly Gennaro if you haven't seen Coach. But that's
Bruce
not
Willis's
her.
estranged wife in Die Hard. Just FYI.
Yeah.
Listeners. Yeah, because I would say like 90% of this episode was basically him dealing with, or like trying to figure out his daughter situation, and also dealing with that, like with Christine opposite of that. And then 10%, if that, was him kind of talking about sports and or just yelling at his student players.
Yeah, screaming at them.
They had a
It's
bad
pretty fun.
practice.
Yeah. And then and it's during his like, please Kelly, don't leave. Like I actually want you to go to school here. And he's like, hold on a second, I have to go do this. Screams at the team, and she can hear every word. And then he runs back in and is like, so are you gonna stay?
Yeah, there's one or two lulls, I think, in this one, but definitely also pretty serious at a lot of the times as well, especially with the whole. I mean, right away he was like, "Oh yeah, my daughter. She's haven't seen her in a long time. I just stayed away because I thought that would be better." I'm like, "Oh, you sound like Dad of the Year over here."
Yeah.
Classic dad. Am I right? Yeah, I mean, you had your comedic folks. You had Luther, who's Jerry Van Dyke, and he's silly and kind of dumb, and then Dauber, who's really, really dumb and silly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Luther's just definitely like that, kind of like he's almost like just like a kooky old man, you know.
I kind of got a hint that they had been like coaches together maybe for a long time, because he talked about some other game that they were at, and that where they played really bad, and it was when the last time he'd seen Kelly, and it was probably 18 years ago.
Yeah, like
So-
they've known each other for forever,
Which
him and
makes me
Luther.
think like these guys have been coaching like college football for a long time. I was kind of wondering if in this episode we were going to get like he was a high school football coach that's called up, or whatever Joe said, like an insurance salesman, or what was it?
Yeah, insurance agent is just down on his luck. But no,
It
he's
doesn't
a fully fledged college football coach by the time the show starts.
Right. Joe, what did you
Celebrity.
think about this show then, having been fully newcomer to it, basically?
I'm interested to see, because again, what we watched was the pilot, but this pilot was actually aired second because they did like a preview episode. They showed episode 2 first as like a, hey, we got this new show coming. It's called Coach. Here's an episode. And I wonder if that episode 2 like is maybe a little more light and has a little bit less family drama stuff in it. Like it does make sense to do this one first because it's the introduction of Kelly. I feel like if you just got thrown into episode 2, you'd probably just maybe it wouldn't be confusing, but like it is good to get that backstory of like this is his daughter, but they don't really know each other at all.
Right. Well, and in the first episode that they showed was called Kelly and the Professor.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third episode was called Kelly Meet Christine.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
Ooh.
I mean, they're naming episodes after his daughter. So
Yeah.
She's an important part.
it would be interesting if you caught the preview episode when it was Kelly and the Professor, and then you watched next week's episode, which was the introduction of Kelly, and you're like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I
She
think
was
it
here
was like
last
the
week.
next day, if I saw the air date correctly.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
was
couple days later, maybe.
It was February 28th, which is the first episode, and then this pilot was on March 1st, so it would have been
Yeah.
the next day.
Unless
And
was
then
a
it went
leap year.
and then it went weekly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Listeners, let us know if it was a leap year.
Yeah, I can't be bothered to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. I mean, you get a little bit of the flavor of the characters. It is the pilot, and it's a little hard to judge like this early, but like the female characters feel a little bit undersketched.
It is 1989.
Yeah. It is 1989.
So over-sketched.
And it's it's a writer's room full of dudes probably. But yeah, it just feels a little bit like there's probably some some thought as to, okay, we're going to have a football coach. It's going to be, or a football coach show. And like, there's going to be a lot of dudes, but like, there's going to be family stuff and a romantic interest, and that'll be for the ladies. But just like those plot elements of it aren't very well. Just like the women don't have much agency other than like they want coach's attention.
Yeah, I can agree with
and
that.
And it's just like women be trying to get at me when I'm trying to do my work.
I'm a big deal.
Yeah, it's very interesting to like think about the fact that if like his daughter didn't want to come to this school to like get to know him, and stuff, that him as a character definitely seems to me that would have been fully okay with just then continuing on business as usual and not even really kind of trying to figure stuff out with her.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, she just wouldn't be.
She just wouldn't be in. Yeah,
she just wouldn't be in his life at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, and because this episode particularly is pushing on those elements of the show of him being a dad and trying to like woo this woman, it felt a little weak, and I wonder if an episode that was more focused on him like coaching football would have felt like a stronger pilot.
Yeah, maybe. Are you saying they should have waited to introduce Kelly till season 2? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Or maybe, they could still introduce the idea of Kelly, that like,
Kelly's she's like Maris. They only talk about her.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not even, but just like, you could still have the main plot point of the first episode be like, oh, my daughter's here. That's going to be weird, but not have that be the main plot line, I guess, of the first episode. And you can dig more into Kelly as you try to figure out that character. But it just feels a little bit undercooked. Again, just watching the first episode, and it's a 22-minute show, so maybe it gets better. Right. But
yeah, it's definitely like the whole tension of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of this first episode was just trying to split his time between the two women.
Yeah.
I would, you know what? I don't know why I just thought about this, but part of me thinks that I would actually be surprised for some reason if we ever even see Coach on the sideline during a football game in 200 episodes. I'd almost be surprised if that happens. Just the way this felt, just the way like this show felt, this episode. I'm wondering, do we ever even see football being played for real?
Oh, I bet we do.
I bet there's like one episode where that's like the it's like the bottle episode, but it like all takes place during a football game, and you just see him on the sideline the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could just see how a lot of the quote unquote football stuff is all like basically in his office, and like how the team came back from practice and he was yelling at him in the hallway, and then they went into the other room, and then he went in and he just yelled at him. So everything's just like right before a game, right after a game, right before practice, right after, leading up to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I could almost see that happening. I have no idea.
Well, it's filmed before a live studio audience, so you gotta
kind of hard
can't go
to
outside to the football field.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they
You got
could have filmed
stands.
parts outside of that, but still, yeah.
You already have.
It's just
seating for
interesting
them.
if a show that definitely revolves around football has
Yeah.
no football in it. Actually, curious, kind of fun. It'd be fun. It's actually, that'd be pretty hard to do, I think.
For 9 seasons, for sure.
Yeah, for 200 episodes to just never show football, that'd be impressive.
I could see a thing like today. I don't think they would do this in the late 80s, early 90s, but where like every like season finale is like the big game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be like a thing you would see now. Or like the Game of Thrones style. Every second to last episode would be the big game, and then the final would be the aftermath of whether they lost or won that game.
Oh, also, just FYI, I found out that the Minnesota State University was actually the University of Iowa.
Boo. Huh. What? Like that's where it was, that's where they filmed those whatever wide shots of the school or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the B-roll is taken from Iowa.
Ugh.
The exterior shots of the show were all from the Iowa campus.
Ugh.
And I guess it played homage to series creator Barry Kemp. He graduated from the University of Iowa. And the name of their apparently legendary football coach was named Hayden Fry. So that's why this guy's name is Hayden.
Pretty close to Hayden Fox.
Pretty close. Yeah, I don't really have... I mean, I'm interested. I had some lulls. I remembered eating dinner when I was like 8. You know, that's what this show did for me right now. So
Yep.
It was fine. I think everything Joe brought up was very accurate.
Sure.
I would like to see that in 200 episodes, how much
Yeah.
if the writing improved for the ladies or if everyone's just still pining for coaches
Yeah.
attention.
Piggybacking on like just the amount of like just drama and like sort of lack of comedy to that point, or just kind of a weird ratio, that makes sense. Like watching this episode now makes sense why they didn't air it first, because it'd be kind of a downer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So assuming that, you know, the other episodes are a little more lighthearted. But, and also, so you brought up Barry Kemp, and he's the creator of Newhart. So bring it all the way back to the St. Elsewhere. Anyway, so he wrote on like Taxi. He created Newhart and wrote a ton of that. And you would assume that this is gonna be just pretty comedy heavy. But
Yeah, I hope
you
so.
know, we'll find out. Stay
Yeah,
tuned.
we will. I'm sure this last episode's going to be hilarious. Should we see what our predictions are before we dive into that, though?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm looking at mine, so I'm going to do mine right now. Number 1, I went classic. It's Kelly's wedding.
Of course.
Huh? She makes it that long.
Yeah.
Number 2, I think we see Beth, the ex-wife.
Ooh.
Because she's got to come to her daughter's wedding. Number 3, I think Coach is hot off a championship season. Gonna have to pay attention, but I think I'm gonna get hints to that. And then number 4, I think Dauber has finally graduated.
Oh, good for him. He's pushing through.
Nice. Leveling up.
Yeah, so those are mine.
I can go. I have Kelly is not in the finale.
Pretty opposite of what I've said right there.
I don't know how long she is for this show. Maybe she finishes college, but I don't think that she's gonna be a part of the show for very long. I think that Coach actually coaches for the NFL now, and he's coaching a team in the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
And this, because we got a 2-parter, right? So I think
Yeah.
a 2-parter is his team in
It's
the Super
actually-
Bowl and then the aftermath.
Jimmy, do you do your predictions, and then you can tell everybody what's actually happening in this finale.
Okay.
'Cause
Okay.
Joe,
I see it too.
Joe, you wanna? Was that?
Finish?
was-
I got
yeah.
2 more. Yeah.
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 So Kelly's not in it. Coach is coaching the Super Bowl. John Madden makes a cameo.
Okay.
Yes.
Is trying to decide whether
I hope
would
it's
put-
Ditka.
I would put money on the fact that John Madden was in the show at least once.
he had to be.
Yeah.
Had to be.
I could see it.
And then I have that after the season, Coach retires to spend time with his family. I think that
Nice.
he gets to, now that he's won the Super Bowl, he gets to retire and be the father he always thought he could.
Nice.
About 35 years too late. but
Yeah.
whatever.
Now that his one daughter is a full-on adult,
He's
has
gonna-
her own
She's
family.
already married and has got kids that she's ignoring of her own.
Yeah.
Okay. So I also have coach doesn't coach is what I wrote.
Coach don't coach.
Coach don't coach. No more. Then I think he is married to Christine. I went back and forth on that because I kind of felt after this pilot that I felt this kind of the same way about Kelly as I did as Christine. Like either their characters are going to be gone or they're not going to be playing them. Like it's a new person playing Kelly or Christine. But
Yeah. I could see them working it out. I believe in those kids.
yeah. So he's married to Christine. Maybe they have a baby of their own. Then I went a different way than Josh. I don't have Kelly getting married. I have number 3 is Dauber is getting married.
All right.
And
I feel like that's a better guess than what I guessed. So
well, we'll see. Because I also have number 4 is Luther is also getting married. Double wedding.
just the Stooges are getting married in the last episode. Why not?
Yeah, you know.
I'm into it. I like it. Cool. Well, that's that. That's our predictions. We're gonna go into the finale, but Jimmy, the finale is a little weird, isn't it?
Yeah, so it is a 3-parter, but per our rules, for whatever reason, parts 2 and 3 were aired on the same day. Part 1 was the week before.
Yep.
So we're gonna
Okay.
watch parts 2 and 3. I would think by those standards.
Cool.
What do you think?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was planning on doing as well after I had looked at this just now too. So we're going to watch Leaving Orlando parts 2 and 3. So very interesting. Leaving Orlando makes me go,
Disney World?
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? How close is Tampa Bay to Orlando?
Not
Is he a
that
basketball
close.
coach in the Orlando
the Magic.
Magic? Is that, I know so little about basketball that I wasn't sure if that was the team. I didn't know. So sorry listeners, all you basketball fans out there. And Joe likes basketball.
Love it.
But yeah. All right, cool. So we're going to watch Leaving Orlando parts 2 and 3, and we'll be back after that. And we're back. We're done with the last episodes of Coach, which were Leaving Orlando parts 2 and 3 because they aired on the same day. Jimmy, you got a write-up for us.
I do. Okay. Hayden, Luther, and Dauber think back to their college years after visiting Minnesota State. When Howard reveals what other pro teams are interested in having Hayden as coach, the Foxes make a decision for their future. And then they decide to not do any of them, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Which
The
wasn't-
overarching, I was just going to summarize briefly. The overarching
Yeah,
plot is
Please do.
like that Coach is the coach of some expansion NFL team. And he's being offered like a long-term contract, and he is unsure what to do, goes back to Minnesota to try to decide, and then in the end decides to just retire.
Yeah.
And then in between, clips.
Yeah,
Ugh.
so many clips.
Yeah. So we watched parts 2 and 3, and part 2 was just, hey, we're at our house, our old house. Clips. Hey, we went to the old coach's office. Clips. Hey, we went
and
to
the
this,
clips are
I guess-
like there's like
I guess-
weird music playing, and it's like you don't
Yeah,
hear
no
any of the
audio.
audio. So like a lot of the jokes, you're just sort of like, what happened here?
Yeah. Rob Schneider is just all of a sudden a very
thought that
young
was that-
Rob Schneider.
Was that who that was? 'Cause
Yeah,
I thought
confirmed.
that, and I went, and I was like, I don't know. Is that timeline work
He was in a
out?
couple of episodes apparently.
I thought that might be him. Yeah.
Very little man.
Yeah, I mean, so essentially, episode 2 of this part 2, total wash, stupid. Delete it from the internet. Don't watch it.
It was a little sad.
Part 2. Oh well, yeah. Okay, so watch the last 1 minute a bit, basically, when they're in
First
the
and last
Touchdown Club. Is that what it's called?
Is that what that restaurant's called?
Yeah, I think it was called the Touchdown Club.
Yeah, I saw that.
They were there, and then this lady Doris, who I assume must be the owner of the Orlando expansion team or something, or someone in charge, was like, I know you're here because you have other offers and blah blah blah, and so I'll pay you more money if that's the problem, but figure yourself out. And then episode 2 was basically just him like contemplating by the lake.
Yeah.
And
no, I don't
well, and
want
talking
money.
and talking to Dauber and Luther. Apparently, they just follow him wherever he wants to go. I mean, I guess he's their moneymaker. So
Yeah, right.
They just
Like they get to follow him is what's happening here.
yeah. Did
Yeah.
Luther in this episode strike you as just a really sad old man? I felt bad for him in so many different times.
The world has passed him by.
Yeah.
Hmm. Even in the clips, it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh.
I mean, and so then so he's married to Christine, married to Christine now, and they have a little boy. His name is Tim.
Tim, yeah.
They call me Tim.
A little baby.
Timmy.
It's like maybe 2 years old.
I can't wait for the Coach reboot when it's 18 years later and we find out that he left Tim in Minnesota and took the job in Seattle and left Christine.
Tim's coming to Seattle.
Going to college. Yeah.
Go to college.
Yeah, and Kelly wasn't there. She didn't make it to
No.
this last episode.
Mm-mm.
But then they sit on the lake or whatever. Also, did you guys catch the fact that they kept calling this place their cabin
Yes.
now?
Mhm.
And in the first episode, it was 100% his house where he lived.
Where he lived. But
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe
it's
he was living in his cabin.
Yeah, because from all the clips I saw, there was no clips at like a house. It was just this cabin.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I guess maybe after they moved to Orlando, they consider that their Minnesota cabin
Yeah, could
or
be.
whatever.
Mhm.
But
Right.
but yeah, I mean, and then basically he just had like a come to Jesus moment with his like little boy on the dock, and he sat down and he was like, maybe this is where you should grow up because family's important. I don't care about the money. I don't want my kid to think I sold out.
You don't have to go to college someday, kid. I don't need to make any money.
My first thought, I mean, maybe this is just me being either, I don't know if it's irrational or reasonable. You guys can tell me which one I'm being. But I was like, he's getting a $17 million contract. And I mean, you know, fair enough. He's worried that maybe he thinks he doesn't want his kid to get the impression that like money overcomes passion or like the love of something.
Mhm.
You know, those are good lessons for sure. But couldn't he have taken a 5-year contract for X millions of dollars or whatever, done it, and then retired, moved to Minnesota, kept the quote unquote cabin, and then just do whatever he's doing now, and then been like, hey kid, we're great. We have millions of dollars. Just seems seems
I don't know. I mean, I guess I kind of figured that he probably has millions of dollars at this point already too.
yeah, maybe he does.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
He's probably for sure got a house to sell in Orlando. That's probably worth money.
Yeah.
God knows where else. But I hear you, Josh, because
Hi, May. Everybody, this is Jimmy's dog, May.
She has thoughts. She's like, take the money.
Hey, chill.
Is it
Yeah,
is
May
it
knows
feeding
what's
time,
up.
Jimmy?
No, it's like bedtime, so I don't know what's going on.
Is she a good guard dog, and maybe someone's currently breaking into your house?
Yeah, I could. I'll go check that out.
Go check on your dog. What do you got to say, Joe?
Yeah, just who knows? There's a lot of reasons to walk away, and especially if you're pretty financially set. Like I could see him walking. But
that's why I thought maybe I was being like irrational about it, because obviously I haven't watched the other 197 episodes, so I don't have a solid view on maybe what Coach's financials are. You know?
Yeah. However, $17 million.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's like what? There's a couple hundred people that'll call you a sellout, and then the other ones will be happy they got a brand new coach and whatever. I
mean, to your point, if he wanted flexibility, he could have probably negotiated like even just like a 1-year contract. Pay me a ton of money for 1 year or else I retire. And then at the end of that, then try to make me stay again.
Right. I mean, it would be professional. It's professional football, and I'm pretty confident they don't sign like coaches for 10 years.
Yeah, that sounded crazy.
That sounds insane. I feel like 5 years has got to be almost max, probably, because they're like, what if you're just like a dud?
Yeah.
You know, what if you just stop caring, and then now they're stuck with you? They got to break the contract. So
yeah, you got to pay.
I would have figured 5 years or less for a contract for $17 million or $5 million.
Yeah, multi-million dollars.
A multi-million dollars for a couple years would probably be worth it. And then he does have the capability to just move home and move back to Minnesota and live like his house was dope. Like a house by the lake, like that kind of area, like thing. That's a pretty solid. You give me super fiber internet over there, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
The kid's not gonna remember like those few years.
Kid's not even gonna remember when the dad is making. Kid's just gonna know when he's 9. His dad's got $17 million. That's all he's gonna know. He's like, Dad, can we get ice cream? And he's like, hell yeah, we can get a lot.
Now I want ice cream.
Okay, and then so I have a question for either one of you. So then it was over. He was like, yeah, okay, we're going to stay in Minnesota. I'm going to turn everything down, and I'm going to raise my family by the lake, blah, blah, blah. And then it went like 1988 to 1989, and then it just showed like a clip of him and Luther like looking at newspapers on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then it showed a clip of like Christine falling off a balcony into a wedding cake.
This time
that?
with like the original audio though, so you could hear like the jokes they're making.
This was just like 3 elongated clips at the end of the show. For what reason?
Yeah, at the end of just like, so like they had the scene with him on the dock. They even did like an epilogue thing where they explained what everybody did.
Yeah.
And then commercial break. And
then
then and then they came back with clips, and like I happened to be watching with Claire, and Claire was like, "What is this?" Like I thought the show ended, and I was like, "Yeah, I think this is just a clip because it was from when he was coaching at Minnesota State, and just based on that, I was like, this must be another clip."
It had nothing to do with the show at all. He wasn't even remembering it like in the show as a clip, you know?
Yeah,
right.
It was just kind of out of nowhere. Let's
did they
play
did they literally
deleted
just
scenes?
I was like, did they literally just go, oh shit, this half an hour episode was only like 19 minutes, and we need two or 3 more minutes to fill up our time, so just throw some clips in.
Yeah, it was interesting. I did like the third clip though. Of it seemed like it was Luther and Coach hanging out at, I think, Christine's apartment or something, and she had just got the carpet cleaned.
Oh God, that was
like,
good.
Luther is
with
just
the grape
like
juice.
Yeah, he's like Coach says like, yeah, you can have whatever you want, just like go get something to drink. And he's like, great. And he comes back with like a jug of grape juice, and you could already hear the like live studio audience being like, oh no.
They already know.
And of course, yeah, he like spills the grape juice and then knocks over the bottle, and it just spirals out into shenanigans.
Just slapstick.
And then he sits on it and tries to hide it.
Yeah, he sits on it. Oh man.
That was really good. That was really funny. I did also then like it. Then after those, then they had like the cast sitting on like the house couch, facing like the thing, and we're like, "Hey, thanks for watching. Like, we've been around forever, and this is over, and this is fantastic." And like half of them were regular, like Craig T. Nelson, and like they were the people they are for real. And then like Luther was still acting like he was Luther, like. Oh, if a guy in a suit's got to tell me it's over, or I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, he was refusing to believe that the show was over.
Yeah. And then the guy came, but he was wearing jeans and like just a jacket, and he was like, "It's over," and he's like, "That's not a suit."
Yeah.
And I literally, actually, when he walked in and he had jeans on, I was like, "That's not a suit."
Yeah,
that's literally what I thought too.
It's just like that guy doesn't count. Yeah, and they like shut the lights off on him, and he says he's like still coming to work on Monday, and then the credits roll, and you're like, it's like at once funny, but also like you said, like kind of sad. That like the whole joke is that this old man can't let go.
Yeah, yeah, it made it even like I already thought he was being a sad old man already, and then he was like, nope, I'm coming up back on Monday.
He's just like, I have nowhere to be.
Yeah, right.
Who am I?
I mean, I liked it. I enjoy like especially long running shows too. I mean, even shows that are like half the size of this one. When you know they're done and it's like, hey, fourth wall, thanks for watching. Like, we appreciate you. You know, it's just nice. You know, so it gave me like I like Coach. At least I have I hated that clip show. I was really mad, and then they said thank you to me for watching all of Coach, which I didn't, but I still felt good about it.
You took it though. You took that gratitude.
I accepted their gratitude. Yeah,
you're welcome, Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah.
Get that?
He's still alive? Should we tweet at him? You're welcome at Craig T. Nelson.
He's for sure alive.
I assume he is.
Why would Craig T. Nelson have a Twitter account though? I guess I gotta know now.
I don't know.
Someone should know that. Probably not Jerry Van Dyke though, I would assume.
No. Don't make him a more sadder old man. Don't make him a sad and dead old man.
I can't make him undead.
Well, you don't know. Learn magic. Maybe you can. Do we got anything else to add about this finale? Jimmy, do you have anything to add after you're back wrangling your pup?
You know, I do. I love me some Craig T. Nelson. I love The Incredibles. I love Poltergeist. And I love Coach.
He's in The Incredibles?
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the he's the dad.
He's Mr. Incredible?
Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, he's the titular.
The titular Incredible.
Just try to say titular once in a while.
Titular.
Yeah, it's great.
He's great.
There's a weird vibe that I can't quite put my finger on. That's like, he's kind of a selfish douche, like at the beginning, and he keeps kind of pointing that out, like owning it. But at the same time, he's like this, like super like important, like can do no wrong. I don't know. There's something that rubs me in a weird way. It's not like he's Tim Allen or
Craig T. Nelson's rubbing you wrong. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's not like it's Home Improvement where he acts all big and great, but is always like getting like doing stupid things, and you kind of laugh at him. He's still like someone you're supposed to. Yeah, Craig T. Nelson's like never the butt of the joke, and there's something about that I don't like as much. You know what I mean?
Because, yeah, more like Luther or Dauber are the butt of the joke.
Right. Like, he's screwing up, but it's not ever funny when it's not the punchline when Craig T. Nelson screws up. It's like, you haven't been around your daughter for 16 years. Screw up.
I mean, I don't. Maybe it was just me, but the first time I saw him and he was like, "I have a baby boy," and I was like, "Where's your daughter, douche?"
She's off living her life, man.
I think there was a clip showing that she was married, that she got married at some point during the show. So that was probably around the time she probably left the show. They probably married her off because
there was some clips of that and her mime husband.
Okay. Joe, you talked about it in the first episode, but I wouldn't be surprised if most of the ladies in the show still had very little agency come the end of this one, based on what I saw.
Yeah, just based on, it seems like that, the core of the show is really Coach and Dauber and Luther.
Oh yeah, 100%. Christine's just along for 200 episode ride, basically.
Yeah. Essentially, she's just an accessory to Coach his life.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily make it a bad show, but it does, it feels limited in like a 2021 lens of like, man, they used to just make shows like this where there was only just like the main male protagonist point of view.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, the show is called Coach, not Christine.
Yeah, it's not called Coach and Christine.
Some asshole on Twitter.
Stick to sports shows.
Should we go through how we did for predictions?
Yeah.
I think we've said our piece on this final episode. I went first last time, so I guess I'll go again. I said it was Kelly's wedding. That's obviously not true. She apparently had a wedding at some point. We missed it. I said we see Beth, the ex-wife. Nope. Said they're hot off a championship season. I could not confirm or deny that. Obviously he must have done well at Orlando if they wanted to keep him, but
right.
Who knows? And then I also said Dauber had graduated from college, and it doesn't seem like he had to. It seems like
I saw him in a cap and gown in a clip.
You did?
Yeah.
I'm taking it. I'll take it.
Okay.
I didn't see that.
It was a quick one.
Yeah, I read somewhere that like at a certain point in the seasons, he just like realized that that he had like 3 majors worth of credits and that, so he ended up with a bunch of degrees.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm happy.
Classic.
I'm happy you guys paid a little bit more attention than I did. Taking my 1 point.
It is hard when it's clips that like just a rapid fire to like catch all the little things when you haven't actually seen the series.
I'm just like, wait a second, Rob Schneider?
I mean, that's what I said.
Thing I hold on to.
Yeah. I feel like in spirit I did pretty well. I said Kelly's not in the finale, which is true. Point for that. Coach is coaching a team in the Super Bowl, which not a point for that, but like I think the fact that he was coaching in the NFL, like I think I was pretty close. John Madden cameo, which there wasn't, but again, like they did like make reference to Monday Night Football, so again, feel like I like had the vibe of what they're going for.
Yeah, you really like, you guys passed each other on the highway at night, but didn't really, didn't know.
And then my last one was that after the season, Coach retires to spend time with his family, which is exactly it.
That's exactly correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 points, but I feel like I just wrote this finale.
Yeah, basically. Oh yeah, it's my turn.
Yeah.
I said Coach don't coach. So that's, I guess, is true.
Coach don't coach no mo.
Coach don't coach no mo. Dauber, although he's not getting married, Luther is not getting married. They seem to still both be single, even.
Yeah, it's they're married to Coach essentially.
The game. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they're married to Coach.
Okay, and then Coach is married to Christine. So.
Mm-hmm.
So that's two?
And he even has a kid, which I mentioned. But I read too that they adopted, which does make more sense. But yeah, two.
All right. Wow. We all did well, getting at least 1 point. You two did great. Coach is your wheelhouse, apparently.
Love me some Coach.
Joe, you got to watch the whole show now.
I guess so.
Pretty short.
I guess so. Pretty sure. Yeah, quick one.
Those
9
ads
seasons.
kind of.
You only got 197 episodes to go.
Might as well
All right.
finish Frasier first.
God, Joe, just finish Frasier. Come on, man.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it. That's Coach, and that's first and last this week. Listeners, if you want to give us show suggestions, please do. Write in at F&L Podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitter. Both of those work. We'll see it. We'll do the show, as long as we haven't done it already. Also, if you're on some sort of a podcast app or whatever, and you can rate, you can thumbs up, make them stars, throw that finger at it, hit a button. That's all we need. It's perfect. You're perfect. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week for another episode of First and Last. Goodbye.